And now we are live. So, hello and welcome everyone to the Grafana Campfire Community Calls. It's the month of November or almost getting end of it. And today is very exciting because I know it's a kind of a Black Friday deal and everyone is might be busy shopping, but you know what? We have also saved something kind of a Black Friday deal for you guys as well. So today we're going to talk about something which is, I think, in the world of not just Grafana, but in the world of observability, talk a lot how to create dashboard as code, how to manage your dashboard, because dashboard, yes, you are creating it almost everywhere and every places, but do you have those features to create it as a code? So yes, this is exciting, right? And we have something for you which is called Git Sync. And before jump into more details, I would like to give intro to the our experts, which is Fabritzia and Roberto. Um, we will start with some introduction. We will also have some info like what Git Sync is like, how it started, the project itself, and we have some cool demos today, actually more than just one demos. And then we will also take Q&A. You can also ask questions in our live chat as well. We already got some questions. So yeah, this is pretty much the whole agenda for today. So we will start with the introduction. I will start myself. So my name is Usman and I work in Grafana Lab as a staff developer advocate. And basically, my job here is to answer the questions in the communities. And this is one of the things like to do these campfire community calls. And yeah, this is pretty much me. And I will pass now to the David.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm David. I run the Grafana team, so I work with Roberto and Fabritzia on all things data viz and sort of data sources. And yeah, super excited about this episode. Fabritzia, do you want to continue?
Yes, I'm Fabrizia. I am a staff product manager at Grafana, and one of the products I work on is Git Sync. And as David said, I'm in the Grafana department, so on the core product, and I've been here about 3 years now. So I'm really excited. I'll pass it to Roberto.
Hey guys, my name is Roberto. I'm a staff software engineer in the Grafana department. Joined over like 1 year ago, and most of my time here has been working on observability as code, like the whole topic. Back to you, Usman.
Nice. I must ask, like our experts, they are always new. Sometimes they are come again. But David, we miss you. You have been not in these calls for a while. Where have you been? What you have been planning? Something big?
Um, no, not really. No, I think we had. It's sort of the autumn problem that we have. We're fully distributed as a company, and so we only use sort of autumn and spring to meet up because now later in winter you have the like Thanksgiving and all the holidays, and in summer you have the school, sort of like the school holidays. So there's really only sort of 2 or 3 months in the year where all the travel happens and all the on-site or off-sites are happening. And so yeah, I've just been on a few of those, and then also had just holiday. There's like what are they called? Midterms with the kids.
Yeah.
Where we went to the Middle East, which is pretty cool. Went to Oman.
Oh,
Haven't been there before. It was pretty wild.
nice. And you know, guys, today David has some more than just a host. He has also some extra superpower. He's the admin of the show today because I need one more admin, you know. I can't do this alone, so I'm very glad that David is here. So that makes my life easier as well. Okay, so before we jump, I have a quick announcement, something which we do every year, which is called GrafanaCon. So I will share my screen just to tell everyone what GrafanaCon is about, and also show the links so that people can join our flagship event. Just give me a moment. Okay, oops, wrong screen. So yeah, GrafanaCon 2026 is happening. Here is the link. I will also send this in the comments. But this year it will happen in the month of, or next year it will happen in the month of April in Barcelona. We are looking something more bigger from everyone from the community side. We also have a place there which is decided. And finally, there is also a link where you can apply for your talks if you're interested using something you are working with Grafana or some like a cool home lab project where you feel like Grafana is doing amazing job. Yes, feel free to apply now. It probably will take you someplace like this, and still there is a good amount of time. So the CFP will closes on January 19th. So even if you are taking some vacations, some daytime off, you will still have a lot of time to think about, and we will be happy to get your proposals, review it, and hopefully we'll see you there as well. So that's pretty much from my side. I will go back and hand it over to Fabritzia.
Thanks. So let me share my screen because today we are going to talk about Git Sync. And yeah, of course, the question is, what is Git Sync? And I would like to start with a quick overview of the functionality. We created the ability for Grafana users to connect one or more folders in your Grafana instance to a GitHub repository or to multiple GitHub repositories to bypass any complex as-code setup and just give you a simple way to store and manage dashboards as code. We tried to keep the experience as close as possible to what developers would normally do. So you make some changes, you put them to a branch, open a PR, ask for a review, and then the change gets merged. And this way, all the changes you make to dashboards are traceable and controlled before they're available to everyone. On the other side, we've tried to keep the experience of working in Grafana as close as possible to what you're currently used to when you edit the dashboards. So it's kind of a best of both worlds scenario that we've built here. This feature is right now available for OSS, for everybody, and for cloud users in private preview. But the plans is to make it available to everybody in cloud pretty soon. What happens when you have your dashboards and you want to save it? It's exactly what you do now. It will open the save drawer, and you will see that in the demo. But instead of just finding the save button, what you have there, it's a set of controls that you can use to decide which branch to push your changes to, if you want to push directly to main, a couple of other settings. And from there, you will be able to see something that is the changes that you've applied, but no one else will see them until all the process in GitHub is completed. You will see this best in Roberto's demo, but before we move there, I wanted to talk a bit more about why we did this. So talking with users over time, we realized that a lot of them were trying to create their own solution to save the dashboards in a Git repository. And one of the most common things that we saw was people just going into the JSON in the UI, copying it, and saving it in Git. So every time they made a change, they would just then open the JSON, copy the dashboard, save it in Git, and do all the process manually, which I know it's terribly frustrating. Good, David.
I've definitely done this a few times. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it done more than I would like. So it's kind of.
I think it's just it's not just the clunkiness that you had to get this out and sort of paste it in, but then also like the PRs got really big and sort of very difficult to navigate, and so that was a bit frustrating.
Definitely, and also, there is no visual cue in the PR.
That's true. And I believe like when I'm in the community forums, like we have some really passionate users who created some cool scripts either on Python or some Bash, which can do this like copying your dashboard. But obviously the problem was to maintain it, because with versions things can change and break, and keeping it up to date was also a bit challenging. So I think it has a very long history for us and for the users, like how to make it better and better. And I think there are a lot of steps which involve which I know, like Fabritzia, you or Roberto, you will share more. But yeah, it has been going with like a history, or and with a pattern as well.
Yes, and we also created tools to help this process. Like, I know a lot of people use Grizzly to do this export, but again, it's clunky, it needs to be timed, you don't control version very well, and it overall requires our users to set up a full pipeline for both the changes to go in the repository, and then if they want to modify the dashboard directly from the code, also to go out from the repository to back to Grafana, which it's a lot of work to build and maintain. And we've noticed this problem solved time over time in different ways by different people, which is like kind of brought us the idea of why don't we solve it for them once and for all.
Yeah, it's
I
funny
would
that
say
we started.
that.
Oh, go ahead, Roberto.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that one of the challenges that people face with those custom CIs and scripts is like that they could solve the problem from one side. They could solve maybe the problem on the CI side, on the repo side, but there's still like there will be nothing in Grafana that they will allow them to do it like visually and going back to the repo. That is the two pieces are like the ones that we have solved here with this feature from both sides.
Yeah, at Grafana Labs, I think we started very early to have essentially our own as code sort of approach very early on around JSONit and sort of the Grafonit and that library. But then we ended up having actually two Grafana instances to monitor our systems because there wasn't this bidirectional workflow possible. And only a few few people sort of reluctantly adopted sort of JSONit and were like able to change the code there. And then this other instance, the sort of where you just had the sort of UI way of modifying the dashboards, that just sort of grew massively. And and so now we're in this place where that sort of organically grown instance is just huge, and we have to clean it up.
Yes.
And I think it's sort of at the right time almost, where we can now also have the as code approach then, and with the like this bidirectional sync now becoming available, that we can actually have a proper like as code story in the backup there.
I
Yeah,
agree.
and
Sorry.
David, just I want to say that you just brought up one of the main things that all of our users that we interviewed over time said, that is the lack of feedback loop for any of the current as-code approach that we proposed before Git Sync. And that's a real important issues that we're really addressing with this Git Sync, because the feedback is immediate and not delayed as it would be with any other approach. You see, you see what you get. You see the dashboard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Usman.
No, I just wanted to make one point here. I totally agree from the UI side, because the majority of the Grafana users are like they are using it to view data in a dashboard. So dashboard is like the 95 utilization part for them. Using like JSON or projects like Grizzly, it has like some learning curve. It has some technical challenges. So not everyone is able to adopt it, I would say. And having this UI part where like a normal user can create a dashboard, use the ship it to the GitHub repo, sync it and get it back. This is something helps the majority use case, because again, if I ask a user like, hey, what's your general purpose use of Grafana? 99% will say, I'm viewing some data, I created a dashboard. They're not saying like, I'm an admin of Grafana and it is my job to create data sources and configure everything. No. So that's also a very big part here, which plays role in making this Git sync.
To use one
That
of
was
Grafana favorite word, we are democratizing dashboard as code.
Yeah, I was gonna also say back to what Usman was saying, is that with this approach, you can have two type of users. So you can have like somebody who really cares about version control, managing the changes, about like the ones basically owning the repo to some extent, but then like everybody else also going through that review and process if those people determine that in a like natural way for Grafana as well. So like we have put like a lot of emphasis on trying to keep the experience as close as what you see right now and today, but just introducing the pull request flow and pushing to branches and stuff like that. But basically bringing those two together.
So it's funny that we started the episode with GrafanaCon because this year's GrafanaCon, so 2025, we were already on stage, right, announcing sort of that we have this feature that was experimental, right? And we also did a demo. Like I think in the keynote it didn't work as well, but then in the deep dive later, it definitely worked. And so I'm kind of curious what sort of we did in the meantime. Like where are we at today?
So today we have opened up the features also to cloud users, which was one of the big limitation when we announced it at GrafanaCon last year. And we took in some of the feedback that we got from these early users to redesign and refine the whole save to PR process and also the onboarding process, that it's now a bit more smooth. We've been focusing mainly in these months on quality and stability because we want to launch a feature that's not only super cool, but also reliable, because we want our users to know that they can trust the synchronization that we're making in the background. But we have not stopped there. So we've started working on new functionality, and I will talk about that just after the demo. So with this nice segue, I will leave the screen or floor to Roberto to give us a demo of the functionality, the changes, and what we're doing better compared to what we presented at GrafanaCon.
Let me start the screen sharing for that. And I will, so is the font size all right?
It could be, if you can make a bit bigger, will be nice. Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
pretty good.
I have prepared like a bunch of scenarios to demonstrate like how the feature can work for different like companies or like different users depending on how they want to manage the dashboards as code. Like but the first scenario is like, let's say like the most common and simplest approach, which is one single Grafana instance connected with like one repo. So I will go first to that one, and that will be the one that it should showcase what the feature can do for you. So yeah, basically one Grafana instance is connected through a Git sync, through like through a Git
Roberto,
repo.
can you just make maybe one more zoom here as well? Yeah, much better. Thank you. Please continue.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, basically the user will use the Grafana instance and they want to see their dashboards that they will be there thanks to Git sync, and that will pull them to the GitHub repository. So this is the in this scenario. These are, for example, like some sample dashboards in this folder that are like applications, like has like 5 dashboards here, like some for the business team or some for the infrastructure team. So it's like a bunch of those. And then let's just try to use Git Sync. So given like the feedback on the font size, let's make it bigger. So let's start Grafana. It's gonna pull like the latest version of Grafana with all the nice things they added in the last couple of minutes. Okay, so I added like a couple of make commands to make things a little bit smoother during the demo. But yeah, this is like the local Grafana running here. And if you go to dashboards, then there's nothing here. So let's try to use Git Sync by going to administration provisioning. The term, like the generic term that we encompass this Git Sync is called provisioning. So if you go here and then you say, okay, configure with GitHub, you will be presented with a step. Currently, we only support like personal access tokens, but we're working on a integration with GitHub apps. And yeah, let me fill it out.
Does it also support like fine-grained tokens as well from GitHub, or just personal access
Yeah,
tokens?
it's fine-grained tokens.
Okay.
Let's make also this one bigger. So yeah, it's basically putting like the repository URL, is putting like the path to the folder, and because I have multiple scenarios a little bit more complex that you will normally see, normally will be like something like just Grafana or directly at the root. So if you choose to synchronize, you will be presented with like, okay, what do you want to synchronize? And yeah, in this setup, I just have one mode available, which is basically all the dashboards that you saw in GitHub, they will be pulled into like a new folder in Grafana that can be called whatever you want it. Fire demo. And then if we go to synchronized resources, you will see begin synchronization. And yeah, pretty quickly it created like 5 folders for us and imported like 22 dashboards. And if you go to additional settings, there will be like a couple of additional settings that you can enable or disable. So for example, like one of them is like enabling or disabling the pull requests when you're like submitting changes, or like pushing to the configure branch, which in most cases is the main branch, or like enabling like the generation of dashboard preview images in the pull request. I'm gonna enable everything for demo purposes. So if you submit, then you're redirected here where you see like a list of the repositories that you have connected. And we go to view. This is like the repository status page, and you have information about all the resources that were created, how many dashboards, how many folders, if this connection is healthy, when was the last time that we pull, and what is the commit hash that we pull. And if you go here, for example, to resources, you will see like basically all the resources and the files that are created, and you can go back to GitHub. If you click in source, for example, you will see you will be brought to the specific file. So if, for example, now let's maybe go to one of the folders. There is something new here. That is this little badge that it says provision. It's for folders and also like for dashboards. But before we look at the dashboards, let's look at the entire structure in the screen that you normally look at, which is dashboard. So this is the new folder, and you will see the entire structure with the test dashboards.
Someone really likes tags there.
They were like automatically generated. I said, okay, generate like nice ones for a demo. But yeah, performance. If you open one of the dashboards, you will see that this is being managed as well. And there is also here like a new link for bringing you to the source code as well, also from that screen. So that's a little bit of the first touch that is new. But to like show you that this is like really as code, so let's change something from Git. So now this is the structure. So let's just do something simple that is going to be removing maybe the business thing. The business thing. Okay. So I'm going to add everything here and commit, remove business, dashboards, and I'm going to push. If I go back to Grafana, and in particular to here, and I refresh, the business theme should be gone. So it's gone.
That was instant. I thought it was like, because I saw some like 60 seconds being mentioned there somewhere, but this was really quick.
It's because there's like three ways the synchronization works. One is like manually, you come in here and pull in, but it's something that we don't expect people to do, only to retry or test things. The other thing is like one periodic pulling that we do to make sure that what is in Grafana is exactly what is in Git. And the other one is we have a webhook connection, and that is what this webhook is for. So if you open even like the webhook, the people can see that this is the push event. And so that was the commit that I did. So
do you have to set that up separately, or is that's just part of the automatic setup?
It's automatically set up for you. It's automatically set up for you. If the Grafana instance is publicly exposed, then it will be created for you. Internally, it will be only like the 60 seconds synchronization, because GitHub has to be able to reach to that Grafana instance to let it know about the comments or like changes, basically. But yeah, here are like the jobs, which are basically the pulling. And if I go back to dashboards, let's just revert it back. Yeah, I need to fix my Vim, but this will happen later.
But you definitely know your Git.
Yeah, it's Tmax and Vim. So yeah, I push, and then I go back to Grafana. I refresh. Business should be there again. So it's here.
Nice.
I did everything with Git. And the same goes with editing dashboards or moving them. All these operations work. Now it's time to...
I do have a question, but if it is already covered in the second or other scenario of demos, then I can wait. My question is like, this is all cool, like you can delete and revert back, but what happens if if someone updated the dashboard in the repository? Will it get synced later on?
If the dashboard was updated in the repository?
Mm-hmm. By a user who feel like let's say the spelling was a mistake, so corrected by someone else.
I mean, Git will be the one protecting you. It's like the last right wins. So for example, if you would have changed some of the dashboards that I'm removing in the meantime here, Git would have prevented me from pushing them. And the same will happen from Grafana. So the primitives that we use to talk to the Git server are like basically verifying when I'm starting like to do this, what is the last commit that I'm basing my change from? And if it's not the case when I push, then it fails.
Okay.
So it has like
And,
that.
and to add to what Roberto is saying, this not only works with like the full dashboards, but even if you change the content of the dashboard. So if you want to modify the title and you modify the title in the file, then the new title will show up in the UI. So it doesn't only work for deleting the old file, but also for changes within the file.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Thanks.
Cool. Then that flow of like basically doing the Git command and using Git to change the dashboards is like one of the problems that people have. Yeah, my Grafana is refreshing or something. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, the problem is like what some people have partially solved. There will be more delay probably on some of the CIs that they implemented, but the part that is also good is like basically the operations. You can just come here, create like a new folder, for example, is new, like the demo folder. This is for a demo. And this is like the new saved drawers. So this one, I'm gonna just basically go and push to the main branch, the one that I configured. And the folder is here. And I can do the same for like a dashboard. So I can just basically, yeah, that dashboard push directly to main because this option is enabled. And if I go back to the terminal and I pull, Grafana, you will see the demo folder with one dashboard. So it's going to be committed for us. And yeah, it's a couple of commits that were done by Grafana.
Oh, yeah, that's really cool, right? Because now this is really like the bi-directionality, right? Like, because in the old days, you could already have a bit of your dashboards in Git, and you could put it into the provisioning API, sort of in that folder structure. Yeah. But here it's really, now you did something in the user interface, and it sort of represented that change in your Git repository. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's what we meant with like bringing both systems together and make it like to be feel natural from both sides. So now let's try to, for example, like edit a dashboard by adding like a panel, some panel, and we're gonna do this time with like a pull request. So for that, add a new panel, we will push to a new branch. And here there is one interesting thing that is this banner that is basically telling you that this resource, that the dashboard has been created in a branch in GitHub, but the rest of the people looking at this Grafana instance cannot see this because it's loaded from a branch. Basically, it's not like the current state of the dashboard. It's just like in a branch sitting somewhere in GitHub. So from that is when you can just click here to open a pull request. And yeah, here you will see that there's like changes about the panels adding there. If I create a pull request and I wait a little bit,
what's going to happen?
I'm gonna have it's that fast that I don't have to explain too much like normally, but yeah, it shows like a side-by-side comparison of the dashboard, like the current one and like the one proposed by your change, so that you can just basically here just approve or not. If, for example, you're changing a color or something like that, this pull request will be approved very, very easily. You don't have to guess, take it in the JSON and so on. It will let you understand that pretty easily.
I think this feature arrived because you click on the checkbox like I want to see the preview, right?
Yes.
This is very cool. I remember like this is definitely something when I was trying Git Sync when it was in early days. I was trying to find this like visible, but now it seems working so smoothly. This is amazing.
Yeah. And
yeah,
if these images
yeah,
are
it's really cool. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just amazed, and also like how quickly it worked.
Yeah, like the other thing is also like if these images are not enough because you want to play with the dashboards themselves, it's just like not a change in color or like title, then you can click on these links that will bring you back to Grafana, and you can log in again. And this is just because of my local setup. You don't have to log in again normally. Let me go back to the pull requests. If I go to here, like the person who is reviewing it can also open this preview basically and see, okay, there is this panel here, and go back to the pull request if they want. So now let's go and basically validate that in this demo, like the dashboard, like the current dashboard still doesn't have the panel. And if I go back to the pull request here, then let's say it's good. I merge it.
Okay, so you were on a different Grafana instance there before?
No, it's the same instance. It's the same instance. I have to log in just because I use ngrok in the middle, and ngrok, when you're doing the redirection, it forced me to log in again for some reason I didn't put the time to understand basically yet. So now if I go back to the dashboard itself that it didn't have panels, and I refresh, it has the panel. So because the pull requests have been merged. And if I go back to provisioning, we will see now we have 23 dashboards because the new one. And we will see basically a couple new events. This is the one about updating that dashboard that happens some seconds ago. And this one is about the pull request. And the pull request in question. That was about to comment on the pull request and posting the comments.
Cool. So essentially you can have like a real authoring workflow, right, where someone makes a sort of a change suggestion in a PR, and then through the way you configure your GitHub, you can then have only certain people approve what makes it into sort of your definite dashboards.
Yeah, basically you can then configure your GitHub repo with the rules you want for approval. Like, does it need multiple approver? Can it only be approved by some people? Whatever. So you just set it up in the GitHub repo like you would do with any other repo you have for what you're building.
Awesome.
Okay,
I was curious, how many more demos do we have?
So I hope that sorted ones. But
okay.
Awesome.
I'm just posting some questions because there are so many questions already coming on the live chat, which is amazing. We really love those questions. So Roberto and Fabritzia, if you maybe answer some of them quickly, and if you feel like this will be covered in the next following demo, then we can do that.
Yeah.
So
I can take this.
Yeah, please.
Yes, it still only supports GitHub until we go public preview in cloud. As a quick follow-up from the public preview, we are planning to add support for GitLab, Bitbucket, and a plain Git integration that would allow you to integrate with any Git repository you want. So that's in the working. It will come soon.
Cool. And this is actually the follow-up of the same question that will it gonna kill Grafana net or JSON net path?
No, I don't think so, because you can still use Grafana to build your dashboard directly as code. And then when you create your repository, as Roberto did, just import them inside Grafana. It's just that it will make it easier for the maintenance path. Instead of having to just modify through JSONet, you can also modify them from the UI. But it doesn't kill it. I would say, however, that we are moving away from Grafana to have it included in the Foundation SDK, which is the evolved version of Grafana, as it not only supports JSONet, but also supports other language to build your dashboards like Go and Java.
I was going to say also and add that we also don't want to remove the possibility of using Git Sync with generated dashboards in whichever way the people want to generate them. If they have some existing templating system, it should work also with Git Sync. You just basically, when you generate, you put them into those specific folders, and then they will sync from there. So you can use them in combination. And if at some point you want to just go fully, let's say, Git Sync native, then you can go for that. But we didn't want to close any doors with that. Just using combination with either JSON Foundation SDK or like something else that you built.
Yep.
But the generated ones, right? Like if you edit those and that change travels into the repo, and then you come in from the other side when you changed your sort of templating, right? Then that gets overridden though, right? So I feel like for the library-based ones, or like the templating-based ones, we don't really have the full end-to-end workflow because we haven't quite figured out how to turn fish soup into fish again, right?
No, but we're working on that.
Oh, are we? Oh, that's cool.
Yes, it's kind of feeding back the changes into Foundation SDK templates. Like it will only work with Foundation SDK, of course, because it's what we control. And it's not really a short term, but it's in the plan. So for people who use templating, we want to. And I see another question, which short answer is yes. We plan to add any Grafana resources to Git Sync at some point. Alerts is one of the candidates for what comes next. The other one that it really requested is data sources. But yeah, the idea is that all these components will be a part of Git Sync. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like those three are very important together, right? Like the dashboards, the data sources, and then alerts. Yeah, and that's really a lot of the core functionality already. Sweet. Next
I have
question.
one more question. I think this is more like a general question. Can we compare Grafana with Dynatrace? I mean, for monitoring purpose.
I feel
David,
like that's a whole episode.
Yeah. David, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I don't know, because yeah, it's certainly off topic, right? Because we're sort of both complete monitoring solutions, and Grafana is being built out more and more with opinionated views on how to monitor your infrastructure and your apps. And so, yeah, I would probably go to do your own research at this point, and just see what works better for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the community is also a vital part here. If you, while you are searching, doing your research, ask in the community, they can give you more better advice to your use case scenario. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also like Grafana obviously is always the single pane of glass, or always. So you can actually have both. So if you have a Dynatrace set up and you have data in there already, you could run Grafana on the side and then use the Dynatrace data source to also bring in various data sources together, right? From like Splunk as well, and from Elastic and all these other sources. So any more questions about Git Sync though?
No, I think we are good, so we can move to the next demo. Roberto, you are again on stage.
Yeah, let's see how far we can get. Sharing the screen again. Entire screen. Okay. So let's go to the second scenario. So this is a scenario in which you have, and the colors are not great, but basically you have one dev Grafana and one prod Grafana. And in the dev Grafana is where you, I don't know, you do some of the changes for the dashboards, and then you want, before you put them into the production Grafana in that configuration. So there would be like some promotion kind of flow. So basically you change it into the, you edit from in the dev Grafana, you save it to the dev repository or folder, and then you have some mechanism to just basically copy the dashboards from dev to prod, or like merging a branch into another branch. So it could be like the main branch and the development branch. So you can pick the solution that you want, and then you commit and push, and a few seconds later, or like almost instantly, like the dashboards will be deployed into production. So that's more or less the scenarios, like that you don't want to modify directly into the production instance. So let's clean this.
Maybe do like a clear screen so we can see from the top.
Yeah, thank you. And then, yeah, let's go to scenario 2.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that being used also just sort of clunkily in other companies already, where they had a sort of like gold instance essentially that also no one was really allowed to edit or touch. And then they cloned that every 24 hours into a sort of silver instance, and that could be edited all the time. And then you would transfer changes over manually, right? But that's obviously like a very sort of clunky workflow if that's not supported by the tooling as we do now.
Let me set up Git Sync like as code way. So it now has set up like Git Sync for both instances, the dev and the prod. So if I go to make the dashboards are here. So a bunch of dashboard in the applications folder and one new one that is only in dev. If I open prod just to show you, and I sign it into prod.
I think we lost your video for like 10 seconds, but your sort of your dev system popped up first, right? It was there, and then you did another sync or something, or you did another push?
No, it's just like that. Basically, I set up Git Sync in both of them, pointing to different folders. One is contains the dev dashboards, and the other one is containing like the prod dashboards. And when I open dev, like the only difference with prod is like that there is one dashboard more that is called like new dashboard. So, and now let's just promote it. So I will just add it like a convenience. So it copied it like the dashboard into prod, promoted from dev. So if I do git,
yeah, I think Roberto's cutting out again. But yeah, that's pretty cool to just kind of represent these two stages just via the directories, right? And then you achieve this authoring flow.
Yeah. Or it could be like a merge or pull request or something that is automatic at dashboard from dev. So, and now I'm going to push. So you see it's, sorry, I did changes in the
Yeah. And this is a really good use case where you want to have your production instance untouchable. So there is one setup that Roberto didn't show at the beginning, but when you configure the Git sync, you can say that this instance is read-only. So you would block editing from the UI and just have that instance read from the Git repository to make it completely controlled by the code.
Yeah. Yeah, I had like some issues with Git because I had merged the pull request into that branch for that other scenario, but now that I could push and they're like resolve. So if I go now, this is production, I call the parent folder like a little bit differently for demo purposes. And I sign again. They should have like the new dashboard coming from there. So that was like a simple way of like promoting. Like I said, it could be like with like a folder, different folder. It could be like with a file, with a branch, whatever, different path. And I'm not gonna have like time for all the scenarios that I prepare, but yeah, maybe we can share also like this link to people. They can try it out. So they're like a bunch of,
I don't know. We can keep going if you can.
Okay, let's try the multi-region scenario. So this one, I saw some companies that they want to have like the same dashboards in 2 instances. So they have like a share folder that they want to share, and when they do changes to that configuration, they want it to be replicated in US and EU. So if I do make clean, I go back to the scenario 3, and I do make start. Let's start this new scenario. It's gonna start like 2 Grafanas, one, like I said, one in US and one in EU. And I'm gonna set up Git sync in both of them. So if I do make open US and I sign in, and I go to dashboards, it's like the US region. And it has like the applications and the dashboards, like 5 of them. And the other one is like EU. So let's sign in.
So how's this scenario different from the dev to prod? Because those are also just...
the dev and product either connected to different folders, so or different branches. So if I go here, so they have their own folder.
Yeah.
And then you just basically have the promoted. And in this scenario, you have exactly the same dashboards in the same in one folder. So they both will have replication. If you change the files in here, then both regions will be updated.
Oh yeah,
at the same time. So,
and I guess they step less on each other's toes because they're on the other side of the planet.
Yeah. So this is like the U, and it has that. And if I don't know, remove something from shared applications, database metrics, for example. Shared. And I push. So if I go back and I opened EU, this dashboard should be gone. So database, there should be 4 of them. So it's gone. And if I go to US, this one might not be gone because I don't have it connected with the webhooks. So it might not be gone yet. Oh, it actually did as well. So both of them. So yeah, no database dashboard in either of them.
Nice. We got lucky with the sync time.
Yeah, I think so. With the 60 seconds timing. Make clean. And yeah, then the second scenario, like another scenario, and this one is going to be quick. You could have like different teams having like different repos. And in this setup, I did it like with a couple of folders, but it's equivalent, let's say. And they're going to be mounted in the same Grafana instance. So you can have 2 repos or 2 folders or 1 branch per team, and they have like a different process. So if I
So
go
this is now
back
really
to,
going wild, right? Like you can really have multiple repos mapped into different parts of the dashboard folder structure. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I
Yeah.
like one question here is like we out of these 5 or 6 scenarios, what is like mostly used? Like what are the top 2 use cases in production or by customers?
I think it depends on the size of the customer. Of course, the first one, it's the easiest one and works well with small companies or developers that are developing their own products. The most requested is the second one. So the dev production instance with a lockdown production instance. So they can have editing permissions on the dev environment, and they can give editing permissions to whoever they want, but the production instance is actually kind of locked down. So everything that it's synced through Git Sync is not editable on the UI.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
And
And the third
also
one,
like some, sorry, I was gonna
yeah,
say that
sorry.
also like different teams or
Yeah.
departments wanted to have like separate repositories for the dashboards and configuration might be also like a common scenario like this one.
Yeah, that's what I say. This is the third one, and it's usually in combination with the second. So you have different teams on a different repo, and then you have a lockdown production structure.
Yeah.
So of
Cool.
course we are going wild, but we can go wilder because all these things can be combined.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's we're like on top of the hour. So
Yeah.
that's enough for the demos, I think.
What was the one we
Uh,
skipped? So there was one called master replica. So that's just
Yeah, that one. Let me share like the
or
scenario, but just not demo.
yeah, and I'm saying like Roberto, if you can just explain the scenario, maybe we don't
Yeah,
have time for the demo. The scenario can explain the use case, like a business use case when it can be used and how Gitsin can help will be helpful.
yeah, that's what I wanted to do. But basically, highly available. So imagine that you have like some load balancer, like the user has from a load balancer, and you have like one Grafana that is the master Grafana is the one that this one is going to be pointed. So all the things are going here, and you have another replica that when this one dies, you either do like an automatic switch or like a manual one to just make the same dashboards available and always have them available from the user perspective, even though that is pointing like to a different instance somewhere. So that could also help with like some availability issues in some regions as well, and changing how you're pointing because everything is like replicated.
sweet.
Nice. And I think we are still getting a lot of questions in the comments, and I don't think we will have enough time to answer every one of them. Is there let me go back, sorry, to our screens. Yeah. So is there a repository where users can ask question or report issues, something related to Git Sync, and actually it can help them to know like, is it available, this feature, or is it in production, or is it really a bug? So if you can share some useful link, will be very helpful for everyone.
Yeah, like there are like two main communication channels. So like one is on Slack. So on the public Slack, there is like a Git Sync channel. So just go there for like more ad hoc questions, product, and reach out to us. And the other one is like just go to Grafana for bug reports and some more advanced form of feature requests that you really think that you don't need to just informally discuss with us. And you can just go directly to Grafana, and we'll take a look.
Yep. I see there is a question if this scenario repo is public. I don't think it is, but we have a demo repo where you can find some of those scenarios. I don't know, Roberto.
It's actually public, but
It's
on
actually public.
oh yeah, in my account. So
Well, then
like we can test
it's
it.
in your account. Okay. We can share it.
Nice. Any final takeaways before we end? Because we have run out of time.
Yeah, I wanted to go over the new things that we are planning to do. Most of them we have discussed already. There is one that didn't come up, that is the export functionality. So all we've showed is starting from a Git repo and importing it in Grafana. We are also working on the opposite function, so bulk export. So you select what you want to export in Grafana, and you can export it to a Git repo. All the other things we talked about. So yeah, I think that's it from me, unless there are other questions.
Maybe just this one here
Yeah.
from Andreas, right? Like, bit of an inception question. Can you also provision the Git Sync config using the classic provision API, or how do you get that in?
I need to test it. There was like one setup that is called like instance sync that I know that it won't work. So instead of like syncing to a folder as we showed, syncing the entire instance, that setup would not work on that scenario. But I need to test this if for the folder sync it will work. But it's part of like making this feature also like GA is something that needs to be covered. So we're putting also an emphasis on setting this up very easily for people and us included. We are using that as well.
Yeah, as Roberto said, it might not be available until we go GA, but it's one of the things we do for all GA features, at least for Grafana feature, is to make some sort of as-code configuration and managing available. So it will be there.
But all the workflows you've shown, right? Like they work already in the open source on-prem version today, essentially. Right.
Yeah,
that's cool.
But the configuration, you still need to do it from the UI.
Well, I mean, there is like the question was about like the classic file provisioning, but you can actually run Grafana CTL to configure Git Sync for you. That is what these scenarios do, which it will be like an extra step. So you start Grafana, you run Grafana CTL, so that should work as it works for me in these scenarios that I showed. So that part works. But like the classic file provisioning, need to test.
Nice. Actually, you answered the one remaining question in the comments, so which was about Grafana CTL. So nicely done. Yeah, I think that's all for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and special thanks to both Roberto and Fabritzia for making this very exciting session. I actually learned a lot about Git Sync. I have used, as I said in the very beginning, but now it has gone wild and it's gone actually amazing. So yeah, check all the links. I will also update the links in the video description when it is uploaded. So subscribe to the Grafana channel, and yeah, we will see next month. So yeah, in the month of December, that will be our last call for Campfire for the year 2025. There will be actually then more for 2026. We are already planning. So yeah, thank you, everyone. I wish everyone a nice weekend, and till then, take care. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.